We are back at the SEC tip-off presented by Ekindami Sports and Outdoors. Now let's welcome to our SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, who will join us on the Senate Zone right now. Let's see how long this is going to last until. Until 7 o'clock. Wow. So that means we got a long way.
Yeah, I did not expect
Like,
that one.
wow.
I think the second or third year we
I certainly do not.
I did sell football. And now people are offering information like supplies. Part of the writing notes is the hole-in-one from Chris Jans was, hey, we got word that we need to mention that. And Joni and I were debating what time is the right wake-up time in the morning, because the morning in these roles is really the only time of day that you can control.
Coach Calipari was surprised you had to go through notes. He figured you'd been able to copy ahead talk of his bio.
I should have seen one of them, but it's okay. I'm just gonna have to,
Provide remarks. Maybe not with the detail, and there are people watching, remember. And when you're on camera, you're careful about what you say. And so I do try to be a bit intentional about
to the script.
Well, 90% of the time, perhaps.
Commissioner Sankey, when you first got to this league, I had a conversation with Andy Kennedy. We had never met at the time, and he was like, "Listen, Commissioner Sankey, he's serious about basketball. He's going to figure this thing out. He's going to make basketball work in this league." Well, last year, this league finally gets a national championship. How did that feel to you?
That's pretty cool, I'll be honest with you. And it's not about who, okay? So it could have been anybody.
Right.
I wanted to be a basketball coach way back when I grew up in central New York. And when I graduated from college at Cortland State, my horizons were like between Buffalo, Albany, down to the Pennsylvania border. That was like the region. And at 21, 22 years old, I didn't have the ability to kind of see beyond that horizon. We all have that when we're young, It's home. And fast forward to all that's happened since 1987 when I graduated from college. My wife Kathy was with me in San Antonio, and some of the NCAA staff were great, security. She got to join me on that floor, and I had the vision of being on that floor with a team that had earned it somehow. And so it'd been a long time. We weren't in a good place in 2015, 16. And when Florida was down 14, I had my head in my hands. And I'm like, we had such a great season of just outstanding basketball, both the men's and women's side, but particularly where we were in the men's, have 14 teams in. I mean, you're going to have 13 losses, even if you have the whole Final Four. But I was thinking, I'm going to have to explain, because the first question will be, is it disappointing when you didn't achieve the ultimate crown? And literally the first question I was asked, even after Florida won the game, was, if Florida had lost, would it have been disappointing? And I said, the great thing about this is I don't have to answer that question. Thanks to the Gators winning that game. So that was pretty cool to have two teams in the Final Four, close to having more.
Yeah.
And I think we're ready to make a run again. Last year was really special, and I hope people understand just how special that season was, because it was 40 plus years since a conference had had that level of sustained success to run an entire season.
And obviously Bruce Pearl and Auburn were a huge part of that success as well. We were just talking about the familiarity with Coach Cal, but we also talk about the SEC being a family affair, right? We know each other so well. What is it like for you to be here at this event without Bruce Pearl, but seeing Stephen Pearl now take over as the head coach at Auburn?
I've been around this thing long enough. I saw Stephen play, and then obviously he's an assistant coach, so it's rewarding to see people progress. That dream I described for myself, it altered, but to see somebody aspire and achieve. I appreciated the call I had with Bruce the Sunday before the official announcement. Just a few weeks ago, he and I had seen each other at the Sly Foundation event. He kind of hinted to me that change was out there. I had no idea when. And he sounded so good about how the decision came to be. And what's great with Bruce is he has the ability to turn the page and go on to something new. And his commitment to what's happening in Israel, support, and his willingness to communicate, I think is part of that. I think he's got a lot to contribute to the game of basketball. Certainly has a great deal to contribute still to Auburn University and that family. And it'll be rewarding for him. It'll be challenging for him, I expect. You know, we've all been, well, a lot of us have been parents with our children in youth sports. This is a whole different dynamic, right? When my youngest daughter played soccer goalie at like U12, that's like nothing like being a dad and your son's the head coach in the SEC. So pretty cool for both of them.
Yeah, and the league is changing. You think about that Final Four. You had Bruce and Kelvin Sampson, and you had two younger guys, right? This league is now seemingly that way. A lot of young guys in this league, Stephen being one of those guys, and a couple of older guys. What do you feel like the culture of this league and in basketball at large is right now?
This is where the credit for our improvement really goes back to campus, our athletics directors. I think one of the challenges we had from probably 2004 to 2016 was the lack of continuity. A lot of good people hired in coaching roles. They had been those who had gone into the Sweet 16 someplace, but it had happened once. And then they came in, and we had Billy Donovan. Bruce was at Tennessee. Kevin Stallings had continuity. John came in. And that's a hard coaching challenge to rise to the top. And then a lot of turnover. We had the academic progress rate that came into being. This was the research as I came into the commissioner's role of trying to explain why we were not meeting our own expectations. And I think now, and Mike Tranghese was helpful. We brought him in. But the athletics directors hiring coaches with a depth of research on the part of our athletics directors, commitment to being successful in men's basketball, and coaches who, maybe they were younger, but you look back at the resume, who they'd worked for, where they succeeded, what they've done as members of staff. I think that has helped continue the success. I'm excited about the future, even with some of the turnover. You just saw Bucky and what his resume looks like. You think about Todd. You think about some others, Matt McMahon, what he's done. I'm thinking about today's coaches. I'll get in trouble because I don't name them.
You're going to miss it.
Really proud of the roster of coaches we have. Dennis and Porter still to come. And those are special people leading in men's basketball.
Speaking of, we know you got to keep moving and introduce some new men's basketball coaches or some of the next ones here on the podium. And women's basketball coaches as well, because we still have a lot left to do here at